Alright guys, this is my first YouTube video, but today I wanted to show you my 1979 Yamaha DT100. And one day I noticed that the speedometer wasn't working, the odometer wasn't working, and so I'm trying to troubleshoot that now. I've actually already fixed it, but I'm going to go through the steps real quickly of how you can fix yours if it's a similar type of bike. I think as long as it's an older style bike, it might be very similar. I've got drum brakes. We'll see that in a little bit here as well. But I didn't see a video that instructed me exactly how to do this, so I'm just going to put one out there in case it might help anyone else. So there's a little clip here. You can just remove this. Then you take the odometer cable out of the housing there. Okay, so next there's this little bolt that I've gotten loose, and then you just want to loosen the bigger bolt. You can pull the little boot down, and eventually what we're trying to do here is remove this little guy. There we go. Now just unscrew it all the way. There we go. Next we've got this little cotter pin. Just need to bend that down enough that you can take it out. Alright, then you gotta work on the bolt. You got the right socket size now. You want to use something to hold the other bolt in place. You can use a torque wrench. Set your bolt aside. Got your bike up on a stand so the wheel is free. And if you support the wheel a bit, should be able to pop that bolt right out. Now the wheel is free. We've already removed the cable. So there we go. Now we've got access to our hub here. So once you've got the brake housing off of the wheel, this is what it looks like in there. I'm not sure if you can see it, hopefully you can, but there's this little guy here that's supposed to spin around. That was completely seized up. There's a bunch of grime in there and it just would not budge. So what happens is there's these little things here on the wheel. When the wheel spins, it spins this little guy with the wings here. The wings spin this other little gear down at the bottom there, and that spins this other little gear on the side. And so when that doesn't spin, it doesn't spin your odometer cable that goes in right there. Remember, we unplugged that earlier. So since it was completely seized up, it wasn't spinning my speedometer, it wasn't spinning the odometer. And so what I did to unseize that is I sprayed a bunch of the anti-seize spray in there, just a bunch of lubricant, and then I just pounded on it at an angle with this screwdriver and my mallet. As you can see, it's loose now, so I'm not going to do that. Once I got that moving, well, actually I took this housing out first before I started pounding on that, and there's a little C-clip in here. You can kind of work, and you can pop that off by working that out. So then you'll be able to take the gear at the bottom and this whole housing out, so then it's free and you can just work that gear loose. And on mine, this guy with the tabs here, the part that spins the gear at the bottom was worn down, so I had to replace this part. And once I replaced it, we got it spinning nicely again. So once I pop this back on the wheel, the odometer and the speedometer work again. See, so you get it in there, and you get another thing. Getting it on is harder. So there you go, that pops out. These little guys, and this centerpiece comes out. So now you can get in there and bang away on this gear here if yours is seized up. So the anti-seize spray that I used was this Blaster PB penetrating catalyst, whatever it is, and I just sprayed it all over in there, let it sit for a while, rinsed it out, or drained it out, sprayed some more, just like it says on the bottle here. Shake the can, completely saturate the troubled area. Don't hold back. If you think it's not enough, go ahead, give it another spray. Let it sit for a few minutes, tap lightly, and respray to hasten results. So that's pretty much what I did. Cover that area up, let it sit, and then I just tapped away. Actually banged on it pretty good. It eventually started to move a little bit, then a little bit, and you kind of wiggle it back and forth. Eventually I got some crud out of there. There might have been some small rocks in there too that was just blocking it up. So then, once you got it back in working order, you just put all your parts back in. Oh, this is the little guy with the tabs, the little wings I was talking about. This flat part is what spins on the flat part of this bottom gear, and mine was just bent, and so it wasn't spinning the bottom gear very well anymore. So I had to get a new one of those. It was like $2. And then you put the clip back on. It's actually the hardest part. Oh, that's not good. Just figured out a quick and easy way to get this little C-clip back on here. Doesn't really go on there very easily at all. But so what I did is I took a little screwdriver compared to my bigger screwdriver, got one edge on there first, and just kind of got that in there, got the ledge in there, or the first edge in there. Then I just kind of pulled this other side. Of course, now it's not going to be easy for me. So close. There we go. Good as new. Maybe not quite good as new, but good enough.